makes me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
We need them. Yeah, we need those strategies. Those strategies for living. So are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
Boy, I am. I'm ready.
Well, you're ready for tomorrow. It's a big day.
There's a lot going on tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian. She is psychotherapist, PLPC Lauren Leon McMillian. Emphasis on the psycho sometimes.
I'll take that. That's fine.
Okay, so a lot going on. We're going to talk about a lot going on tomorrow, but I'm going to frame this up.
Okay.
With some people are going to hear some of what we talk about today, like the Chinese New Year. Okay.
Chinese zodiac, Chinese calendar.
And, some people will immediately say, what are y'all doing talking about that again?
Well,
but we're going to connect some dots today.
It's very interesting because tomorrow is one of those times, and it's not just tomorrow, it's a season that's kind of opening up.
Right.
That all traditions, Eastern, Western, are both agreeing on in terms of themes.
Yeah,
right?
The theme for the upcoming Christian season of Lent.
Well, Lent starts Mardi Gras, right? Kicks off Lent, which starts technically Wednesday.
Correct.
But tomorrow is Mardi Gras.
Correct.
Tomorrow is also the Happy New Year, Chinese New Year.
Right.
Tomorrow is also astrologically important. There's a new moon and a solar eclipse. And later in the week, we see some huge astrological events that we've never seen in recorded. Never in recorded astrological history.
Yeah, they've probably occurred before, but not recorded.
But it's not been recorded, and it's been recorded for a long time.
But yeah, so. I know. So there's a lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about, and actually, again, think about this as things to ponder, things to think about.
Well, and I hope to some degree it kind of validates what we're all already feeling. That's the idea.
Folks, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being with us, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of The Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. Lots going on tomorrow. We're talking about it today here on Strategies. That would be us. So welcome into Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian and David McMillian. We've already said lots going on tomorrow. Almost mind-boggling when you stop and think about
it. Really is
all that's happening.
I would almost use the word unprecedented.
Okay.
In terms of energetic shifts in what we're going through now.
Okay.
And I think people have sort of loosely, right? I'm using this loosely in air quotes. People have sort of prophesized this coming of new times, right? For a while.
Yeah.
Right. And we've all felt the shifts, and if we look out in the world, we can see the shifts happening, right?
Yep. Okay.
Right. But in the midst of that, right now, we're in the middle of February, right?
Yeah, which a lot of times people think of, well, not a whole lot except Valentine's Day.
Well, Valentine's has passed, right?
Yeah.
And maybe your New Year's resolutions, they're fading.
We're getting over the winter fatigue. We're looking forward to spring, but the holiday season is behind us.
Right.
The New Year, celebration of the New Year's. A lot of us put a lot of energy into that end of the year, beginning of the year.
And so right now it can feel kind of heavy, quiet, almost stalled.
Yep.
Right. But I'm going to ask you, what if nothing is stalled? Right.
Okay.
Maybe this is the most important part of the cycle. And
but we can't see it. It's like the soil getting ready for springtime.
Right.
You don't see what is going on, but that doesn't mean there's not a heck of a lot of activity. And if there's not activity, then it's going to be a problem come spring and then summer and harvest, right?
Right. And so what you're saying is this rooting time is actually the most important period and time for growth. Got
to have the roots before you can have the branches, right?
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, again, lots to think about. And, you know, in terms of the Chinese New Year, right?
Yeah.
So we're going from what?
So in Chinese astrology, well, in the Chinese zodiac, right? They have each year is assigned an element and an animal. Okay. And so the previous year, 2025, really, and it's still continuing until tomorrow when it turns over, right? Has been the year of wood is the element, and snake has been the animal.
So the year of the wood snake. Correct. Now, what are we going to?
We are heading towards tomorrow marks the transition to the element will be fire. Yeah. And the animal is horse.
You know, the vision that I have of fire horse is a lot different from wood snake.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is I think it can be a stark transition. I think we're beginning to see that actually in the outer world some too, right?
Yeah.
So in Chinese philosophy, the wood element, let's talk about what we've been through first. Okay. And we're at the very tail end of. The wood element represents growth, okay?
Right.
But usually not visible growth.
Okay.
It represents roots, flexibility.
So kind of a slow expanding, right?
Yes.
Okay.
A growth that starts underground, but it also represents, as we've talked about in the previous weeks, what snakes we often think of as shedding, right? So shedding skin. And snakes don't argue with
they don't
with
argue
the
about it. It
process.
just happens, yeah.
But they also don't rush it.
Right.
And they don't cling to old skin.
You made a point earlier, an earlier program when we were talking about this, that if a snake does not, and sometimes it happens, a snake does not shed its skin, then it gets sick.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's something that it caught my attention when you said it, Lauren, because, wow, how many times have through the years am I working with someone who refuses to shed old skin? Or I can say it in my own life, you know? How many times have I refused to shed old skin?
And then do you get sick?
And then, there's
mentally,
something,
emotionally, and physically.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that just underscores how much this is, how much this is to think about.
But let's also pause and think about, I think everybody I've talked to recently has been feeling this pressure, this shedding, this purging, right, within each of us individually. But if we look,
a lot of people are saying they see it collectively too.
That's where I was going next. If we look collectively, and if you look through the lens,
and a lot of people are
year,
expressing a lot of fear about what they're seeing right now.
Right. Well, and I would urge you to think of that more in terms of psychology. Okay. And what I mean by that is, in order for us to grow psychologically, we have to do what Jung called shadow work, right? So you have to bring up what's unconscious, to look at it and to decide.
You can't change it if it stays unconscious.
And a lot of times
that's shadow work. You gotta put the effort forth. Absolutely.
And a lot of times it's not pretty, right? I mean, some of the shadow is actually very pleasant, but we've just hit it because it was wounded early on, right?
Right.
But if we look through that lens, collectively back on the past year, look at all the shedding, the opportunities for shedding, the opportunities for this wood snake work that we're talking about, letting go of identities, quiet recalibration, and a lot of destruction even, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of the shedding process.
Yeah. All right. So now we're transitioning toward the fire horse.
Right.
So the element that's coming is fire, and the animal representation is horse.
Correct.
Fire horse.
Right.
Wow, what an image that puts in my mind.
And so it's almost like this stark, I almost want to put a sound to it, like a quick clap or a snap, right? We go from this deep root shedding to this blazing fire horse who is ready with movement, vitality, and to move forward.
Yeah, Carl Jung talked a lot about archetypes, right?
Yes.
He wasn't the only one, but he talked a lot about it. And it's become back in the last 20 years or so in psychology and self-help and self-growth. A lot of books have been written about archetypes. And if you think about the archetype that is being offered to us right now, the fire horse, okay, wow, what, in my mind, it's visible.
Yeah,
I'm seeing this fiery horse.
Bright.
Talk about passion.
Right.
If it's a fiery horse, I'm either going to, if I see it coming, I'm going to run the other way, or maybe not. Maybe I'm affixed. Maybe my eyes are affixed on it, right?
Yeah.
How could they not be?
Yeah, and it's really a neat transition if you think about it. It's elegant, right? Because if you've really been able to dig in and do some of the shedding work with the wood snake and do the deep rooting and realignment within yourself, then technically starting tomorrow and in the coming weeks, you'll be able to feel this shift into, okay, now I can move forward into maybe some things that I put off, some things I've been avoiding.
Yeah.
But it's important that you can't ride that momentum without the alignment of the wood snake.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, can you imagine riding off on a fire horse without doing that deep inner work?
Yeah.
That can be dangerous.
Yeah.
And
so
we may see some of that.
We may, but if we try to do that without the work, the action without the shedding,
right,
perhaps we, may be self-sabotaging, right?
Yeah. I mean, that ignition without preparation burns out.
Yeah.
Right? It just sets everything on fire. And I think that's an important thing for us to consider also in terms of the elemental wisdom, right? Is to think about all the good that fire can do, but also all the damage that fire can do.
Right. It's not a just one, and that's like so many things we talk about, and for all of us to think about. I mean, we live in a world of duality.
Yeah.
And so many times we want to put our labels. Our ego wants to label. Oh, this is good. Oh, this is bad. This is right. This is wrong.
Oh, if only it were so clear.
Yeah, but we do, our ego does its best to convince us and the people around us that we're right. But psychologically, if we look at the things that we've been talking about, there's some questions that come to mind. Okay.
Yep.
So it's like your identity, your basic identity.
Yep.
What feels too tight now?
What do you need to shed? What has?
Are you still in a role perhaps that you've outgrown? And I put outgrown in air quotes because it's not a actual physical growth thing. Sometimes it's
more
a lot of times
energetic
and psychological growth. Right. What ambition perhaps that you've had is that you're maybe still clinging to is ego driven versus have you thought about what your soul is driving you to do?
Yeah.
That's part of the work.
That's
too.
part of the wood snake work, right?
Yeah.
To go in and connect with the soul and realign with your purpose and what you're here to do.
Yeah.
So that you can set ablaze with the year of the fire horse.
Another question would be, are you just moving just to avoid being still? Are you moving for the sake of moving? Or are you moving with a purpose
and clarity and passion?
And that's part of the alignment thing,
Yeah, right.
And then, clarity and urgency. Are you mistaking urgency for clarity?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Especially in today's time, right? Because we are always go. It's got to be now, right? And real, true clarity actually comes with stillness, and it doesn't, it continues. It's persistent, right? So if you get a sudden insight, I would encourage you to sit with that. And if it's a true insight, clear insight to where you need to go, it will continue to show up quietly and over again.
Sometimes when shedding happens in our lives, any kind of shedding, we sometimes mistakenly think, oh, I'm going backwards.
Right, because it feels very vulnerable.
And just as you mentioned when we were talking about this a few days ago, the snake is vulnerable right after it sheds its skin.
Yeah.
And it has to go into a protection mode for a while. But it's important, and it's part of the preparation.
Yes.
We're
clearing space for new growth.
Absolutely. We are talking today about, all that is going on.
Come back. We'll loop it back to all the other theories, right? Including Lent, right?
Way more than we thought was going on. We'll be back here on Strategies.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio we have every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem trapped. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
Welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren, Leon, McMillian, David McMillian. You are confusing the heck out of me, little lady. You're over here talking about snakes and horses that are on fire, and I don't know. What in the heck are you talking about?
Well, it's all metaphor, right? Hopefully to begin to untangle the energetic web we're all a part of.
Yeah.
And whether you believe or follow, I'm not trying to encourage or ask people you have to believe that this is the way or this is it. But I think it's interesting. I'm looking at it kind of from a more distant overview type of look right now. I think it's very fascinating that the idea of this transition within the Chinese philosophy is agreeing with and coming together with the astrology of the moment,
with the Christian tradition of Lent, right.
It's all pointing at the same.
And again, that's the bottom line here. We're no more proselytizing and asking you to believe in the Chinese New Year or in the Christian season. I mean, not everybody listening to us is Christian, and even some Christians don't celebrate Lent.
They're all different ways, different metaphors to understand and wrestle with the energetic matrix that we're a part of, that we're experiencing together.
But a lot of Christianity does mark Lent, the Lenten season.
Well, and it's interesting, right? Like we mentioned, that the new year aligns with Mardi Gras this year.
Yeah.
It's the exact same day.
Can we talk a little bit about Lent? Because there's a lot of misunderstanding, I think, of Lent.
Sure.
A lot of people think, Lent equals punishment. And Lent is not. It's not punishment at all.
No.
And it's not,
It's not self-denial.
It's not self-denial,
and although,
just for the sake of suffering.
right.
And sometimes we get, I got this figured out when I was in the first grade.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because they asked me, the nun
Yeah.
that taught it asked, what are you giving up for Lent, little David? And I watermelon.
Of course. Because
Well,
we hate watermelon.
I hated watermelon, but it pleased my first grade teacher. Oh, you're
That's
giving
great.
up. Good for you.
Yeah.
But it's
He was a salesman early on.
yeah, there you
from the
go.
beginning.
I should have looked at that. But what it really is, it's not self-denial for the sake of suffering. It is consciously simplifying life.
Okay, so the story, right, that often goes with Lent is the 40 days in the desert,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so,
And I imagine that you're going to hear that gospel.
sure,
Yeah,
if you're
during
in,
Lent,
in any
yeah.
kind of Christian denomination, yeah. And, if we think of a desert, let's think of it even metaphorically, right? What is a desert? It's this area of sand and
Dryness.
dry,
Yeah. Dry,
almost
arid environment.
nothing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Almost this sort of darkness, right? Which is interesting
Like
because
blank slate, you mean?
which
Yeah.
coincides with the symbology of the new moon that's happening on tomorrow as well,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the symbology, and I think we'll probably get into that later, of the new moon, right? That
Yeah.
is this idea of darkness as incubation.
Yeah.
But I think the desert has a similar symbology, right? You go in, he went into the desert so that he had no choice but to confront his ego
Yeah.
and the things that come up when we are in stillness and in isolation.
And that we talk about, and a lot of times during Lent, it is talked about examination of conscience, right?
Sure.
But we need to understand that's not just for the sake of nothing. It is for just what you said.
Yeah.
It's to confront your ego,
Yeah, it's to do the shadow
to
work.
do the shadow work. It's encouraging us
Are we
to
hearing the wood snake themes?
Right, right. In other words, and we know there's a big celebration coming, right?
Sure.
The biggest
The
Christian
resurrection.
event of the year is coming. The Easter is the celebration. I mean, some people get caught up and think Christmas is. It's not. The biggest Christian celebration
Right.
is Easter. It's the resurrection. Because if there is no resurrection, then there's nothing to talk about, right?
Right.
So, it's
And I guess the resurrection kind of, it is and does represent Jesus's biggest miracle, right?
correct.
And here's the way I would frame that. That miracle and all the miracles that he performed in his life could not have been possible without his facing himself and the kingdom within in
Right.
the desert.
Right.
And I think that's something that we're all called, that he was asking people to do like him, right?
Right.
In order, if you want to do the works like me and more, which he said we can do, right? Part of that work is to go into the desert and to confront the ego and what lives within us.
So Tuesday at midnight, the festival, that all the celebration is going to end. And I think there's probably usually there's a group on the Texas Street Bridge that at midnight, there's a priest there who says, "Okay, put down your drinks. It is now Lent." And those people on the Texas Street Bridge, if they still do it, is they'll be the first to receive ashes.
Ooh,
because it'll be Ash Wednesday.
That's an interesting
And
layover to the fire horse.
It is, isn't it? And the ashes are placed on the forehead, and generally, what is said, they're either placed on the forehead and are there's a cross traced on the forehead, and in some traditions, like in Rome, the ashes are actually sprinkled over the head.
Okay.
But the words that are generally said are man or woman, you are dust,
And unto
dust you shall return, as they are sprinkled or marked on your forehead. And that's a stark reminder
Right.
for all of us of our,
Our limited time in the body.
right.
Right.
Right. We only have so much time. We don't know,
our mortality as a human form, as a human being.
Yeah.
And
So you to get to Easter, you got to you got to begin with the ashes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're turning before becoming.
Ooh.
And so, we talk about repent a lot, repentance a lot during the season of Lent.
Sure.
Right? And some people get hung up and maybe don't really understand that in Greek, repent is metanoia.
Correct.
Which is simply to turn around, change your mind.
Change your mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just means to look in a different direction, right? It means that
or at least a willingness to look in a different direction.
Yeah.
And see, that's the willingness is all that's really necessary, Lauren.
Yeah.
Because it's the ego will keep us locked in. For years and sometimes a lifetime. And so the invitation is take a look. Is this really serving you and the greater good?
Yeah, is this the direction that I want to go?
Yeah.
And what's really interesting to me, is the repent is the idea of turning around, right?
Yeah.
It just means to turn. And if we root back the words both right and wrong,
Yep.
both root simply to the word turn.
Yeah.
So there is no right or wrong. There's simply a turning.
Yeah.
And when you remove that, you're able to see you have freedom of choice, freedom of will, and just to align yourself in the direction that best serves you and everyone else.
And so back to the desert for a moment, because you mentioned the point that you made earlier is the desert is a pretty simple place.
Yeah.
And I said it's like a blank canvas. Almost, there's not much there. There's sand.
There's also illusions.
And
the mirage,
yeah,
right?
the mirage, yeah.
Which I think is very symbolic of the ego, right?
Yeah, correct. But my point in bringing this back to the desert is from this simplicity, from the blank slate, which we place ourselves into, we can increase our own clarity. So the silence and the simplicity enhances our insight, which again comes within.
And it reconnects you to the kingdom within. Right. And which is the same thing that we're doing seasonally, right? We haven't really we briefly touched on it, but we haven't talked at depth about the fact that we are still in winter, but we're in winter turning, or the end of winter, right?
Yeah.
Which is when the plants, the seeds are rooting, right? Which is also in theme with what this day and the coming days are asking us to do in all traditions.
So what am I clinging to right now that's not life-giving, and what habits that I might be involved in numbs me rather than nourishes me? Where am I avoiding my responsibility in any way or shape? And what distractions are keeping me focused outside instead of inside?
And digging deeper into the soil.
And, again, all of this is healthy. All of this is, it's psychologically and emotionally healthy, but it's also physically healthy because we're lowering our cortisol.
Absolutely.
Our reflection, the ability to reflect, will reduce reactive behaviors in our relationships. We can decrease the amount of tension that we feel.
Yep. And fasting, whether it be physical or emotional or psychological, interrupts those compulsive patterns.
Yeah, so I'm pushing that watermelon away. Getting real simple, right?
Plant the seeds. Right?
Okay, I'm making the declaration now. No watermelon in this house.
So proud of you.
During Lent.
I hear you.
Okay. All right.
No temptation here.
No temptation. No, take it away. Take it away.
Lord.
Oh, we're looking at all the things that are going on. There's a lot of them. All the things that are going on. And we're going to continue this conversation here on Strategies for Living. Stay with us.
We all have have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies, strategies, strategies for living radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for a Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian, talking about wooden snakes,
Fire horses.
fiery horses. My goodness.
40 days in the desert.
40. And giving up watermelon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
well. Welcome back into Strategies for a Living. I'm probably making a lot of people say, what's wrong with this guy that, he doesn't like watermelon? I don't know. I've tried. I grew up in a grocery store, and every spring, the produce guy would cut a watermelon and package it, and it looks so good.
They
I
are
wanted
good.
to like it.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you like what you like. and
Yeah, it's the texture or whatever. So anyway,
Whatever.
all right. So we've been talking about a lot of things.
Yeah. So we talked about the Eastern Chinese philosophy that's changing the new year that's coming tomorrow. We've also talked about in Christianity and the Christian tradition how tomorrow marks the end, of one season and the beginning of Lent.
Yep.
But it's interesting that astrologically there's a lot going on tomorrow and in the coming weeks as well, right? So particularly tomorrow, in alignment with the Chinese New Year and Mardi Gras, is a new moon and a solar eclipse.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So the new moon.
And you mentioned earlier, what is Saturn and Neptune?
So that's going to be later on the 20th, which is Friday, right?
But it's coming right around the
It's
corner.
right around the corner.
And you say it's never happened in recorded.
It's never happened in recorded astrological history.
That's
where
interesting.
Saturn and Neptune are conjunct, which means they're in alignment. That happens often, right? But they're in alignment at the zero, which is the very 0 degree of Aries. And if we think astrologically, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac.
Okay.
And for these two major planets to be
Saturn and Neptune, major planets,
Right.
major players in astrology, right?
right. So and Saturn represents structure, boundaries, accountability, and discipline,
Okay.
while Neptune often represents dreams, ideals, fantasy, and spiritual longing. So those two things are coming together at the 0 degree, which is often called the creator point of Aries.
Okay.
Because Aries is the first of the zodiac sign, it often represents that I am. It represents initiation, and it represents selfhood and courage, right? So for for Saturn and Neptune to be coming together at what we call the creator point in Aries. Astrologers have been talking about this for decades, that this is going to be a huge shift in collectively in the way we see the world, the way we are, and the way we interact with each other. It's an initiation point,
Okay.
right?
So what I'm hearing you say, and again, I know there's a lot of, we've been talking about this, the amount of fear, the amount of trepidation that people are feeling, but you're saying there's a lot of good to look forward to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and there may be some pain getting there.
Yes. So look, a lot of
The
this,
pain of birth, the pain of creation.
Exactly.
Yeah?
So
Yeah.
all of these things we've talked about, the wood snake to the fire horse, the Lenten season beginning, and we'll talk briefly about what the new moon symbolizes and what the eclipse symbolizes. But right now, also what we're talking about coming up, this initiation point that we've never seen before in astrology, right? All of those things kind of point to what I would call a birth canal, right?
Okay.
Like
All
we're
right.
all collectively, and I think we can feel this collectively and individually, that there's this pressure, there are these contractions happening that we're wanting to shed the skins of the old and birth something new. And so again, it brings back that imagery of the seeds in the soil,
Yeah.
right? Underground, what are you rooting? What's waiting to burst forth? And that doesn't come without struggle, without some pushing through rocks and pebbles and dense earth.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically, psychologically, where do you really feel activated and alive?
Yeah.
And what in your life, what relationships, and this could be people, it could be organizations, it could be habits. What's draining you? What feels draining to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, the idea of Saturn asks the question, where have you been avoiding structure? Right. And the coming of Neptune asks you which dreams are escapism.
Okay.
And which dreams require responsibility but are feasible to bring forth. And again, we see that pushing forward into the fire horse and this creativity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So in the creativity, we're all, we are in the process of creation.
All the time.
All the time. Some people I think, evolution and creation, you got to believe in one or the other. What about if they were the same thing? What about if the process of creation is evolving
Absolutely.
and is evolution?
Yeah.
And that we're participating in it. But
and I think we need to, this is coming from me with my background in science too, and this might flag something, but I think we do need to relook at Darwin's work.
Absolutely.
Because Darwin doubted himself several times in his own work. And I think it's important that we question and continue to look at, okay, maybe there is some evolution, but it doesn't happen exactly the way maybe Darwin set forth.
Right.
And maybe it does. Maybe it happens in different ways. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, there's so much to consider if you think about what we're talking about today.
Right. So let's loop back just a minute because we skipped over what tomorrow is in terms of the new moon.
Okay.
Right. Because I think this plays into all the other themes we've been talking about. Right. So a new moon often represents beginnings.
Yeah.
Okay. We've heard that theme a lot. It represents invisible beginnings.
Right.
It represents darkness.
Okay.
Right. A birthplace and a reset of
Darkness
energy.
before the light. Yeah.
Right. There's the desert, right?
Yep.
And the growing in the soil. Darkness is also an incubation period. It's a time of planting, right?
Yep.
What are you planting in the soil?
Yeah.
And so in addition to it being a new moon, it is also there's a solar eclipse happening. Okay.
Okay.
And so solar eclipses, and this is also, by the way, the beginning of eclipse season. There are seasons throughout the year where
there are more eclipses that happen.
right,
Yeah.
and they generally
And we get
toggle.
all fired up when there's an eclipse. Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, it's a big event, and think about how the ancient people used to see eclipses. That was huge, right?
Well, yeah, they would have been astounded. And what in the world is happening?
So again, the eclipse symbolizes a lot of what we've been talking about: shadows being revealed, illusions being exposed, attachments being tested. So all of those new beginning and seed planting themes that we've been talking about.
Lots to think about here on Strategies for Living. Lots happening this week. A lot more than I thought.
It's an energetic shakeup.
Yeah. We'll be back to wrap up here on Strategies for Living in just a moment. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies. Strategies for Living. Lauren, Leon McMillian, David McMillian. No pressure at all here, Lauren. We've talked about so many things, important things, things that are going on, but no pressure. How do you pull all of this together? Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's as hard as it might seem, right?
Yeah.
Because all of the traditions are pointing to very similar themes, right? That asking us to go in and asking ourselves, like the snake asks, right? What needs to be shed? What needs to be fasted from? What illusions need
What might need to be
dissolving?
given up?
And what are we moving towards creating?
Yeah.
Right? I think it's interesting when I kind of wrote a brief outline, I titled it Preparing the Soil. But when I started to type it out, I accidentally wrote Preparing the Soul.
Huh.
And I don't know that was a Freudian slip.
A little Freudian slip there, huh? Yeah.
And so I think that's the season we're in. And I hope to some degree this helps to validate maybe the pressure you've been feeling. There's a lot of chaotic energy.
That ties right back into man, woman, you are dust, and unto dust you shall return. The soil and the soul, the soil of the soul. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That might be a good book title right there.
Well, and the word human comes from that. Humus means soil.
Who knew?
Yeah. Well,
Who knew?
Now you do.
Well, hopefully, you're considering a lot more things. I know I am. I don't know if I'm going to sleep tonight.
Well, that would be important to prepare your soul.
Folks, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We appreciate our sponsors, Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitas Delicatessen, home of The Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, pretty good muffies too, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call to make, who is it that you'd call? And what would you say? And while you're waiting, make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillian, I'm David McMillian. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.